Jinx Jezebel, I wanted to thank you for being here and for sharing your story with me and with whoever else is watching. I think it's really important that we start rehumanizing the the spirit that's inside of each of us that are does this essential work, which is
Yeah.
erotic art, as I call it, sex work, whatever version that it shows up in. So thank you for exposing yourself and sharing yourself so vulnerably with the world. I'm curious about how you define yourself
Mm-hmm.
in this world. I'm going to say the sex work world. If there's a way that, or erotic artist, if there's a language that you like to use, let me know. So how do you define yourself? And then I'd really like to know what your origin story is. How did you come into this space?
I guess defining myself has become increasingly difficult because a lot of my identity was tied into being a stripper. And then as I moved to online sex work and actually just took a break from the strip club, I realized, one, I'm more than a stripper. I have way more talent than I thought. And I think pretty quickly on my feet in a way that, most people haven't really been able to during the pandemic and whatnot. So I've started calling myself, which I've been grappling with, the kind of, and I just don't know how I feel about it, like a porn star almost, because that's what I'm making. I'm making jack-off material. So whether it's softcore porn or hardcore porn or fetish work, I mean, porn is porn. It's jack-off material. And so, but then there's also been a lot tied into that. Like, is that what I really want to call myself? And all the negative connotations that come with porn star. And I was able to do away with that feeling with the word stripper. So I feel like I should be able to do the same thing here. But it has been difficult. So as far as defining myself, I would just say the general umbrella term, sex worker, suits me fine. So
that's really powerful. Like I started going online too because I was doing full service, and then I'm in a relationship now, and so that's all changing for me. Mm-hmm. But really because of COVID, I had to decide, like, how am I going to continue on with that work, and really enjoying the porn.
Yeah.
And to me, it's an art form. It's its own particular thing that has its own quality and its own, I don't know, there's so many different areas that you can go into it and express yourself, people in all sorts of ways. So I think that's really great. And to reclaim the language and reframe it in a way that isn't shameful has been definitely a process for me.
Yeah.
Go through that process with the language of stripping, because every time people talk about, not every time, when I hear people talk about sex workers, strippers, prostitutes, escorts, there's always this like negative connotation to it. So how did you come to terms with that, with just in the beginning with stripper?
Well, with being a stripper, it was like, it just never occurred to me that it was a bad thing, because I honestly wanted to become a burlesque dancer. I was inspired by Dita Von Teese, and I loved the Vegas showgirl thing, and that's what I had wanted. So I actually started dancing to fund my dancing. I became a stripper to become a stripper, essentially, because I knew that, burlesque was expensive, the costuming was expensive, and you had to take time for it. And I guess I kind of just got sucked into stripping. But for me, it was just never an issue. Which I just now, I guess probably in the last year or so, I just now stopped telling everybody I'm a stripper. I was so eager to let everybody know I'm a stripper. Yep, I'm a stripper. You know what I do? I'm a stripper. And that was a positive thing, but then after a while it became a negative thing, because then I was using that as my identifying factor, because I was starting to feel like it was the only thing that made me interesting. And that is not true. So yeah, I had always claimed it. I had always owned it and stuff like that. And I always will own it. But it was just, it started getting to the point where it was like, look at me, I'm a stripper. Aren't all my stripper stories funny? Aren't all the weird things that happen with my customers entertaining? Aren't I entertaining? Am I entertaining you? Please tell me you're entertained. And that's what it became. So after now moving to online sex work, it's been you know, I don't feel like so much of a stripper anymore. I've kind of peeled away that layer of having to tell everybody that I'm a sex worker and such. And then also because I'm still grappling with, I guess, kind of the shame of doing online work, because there is a little bit of shame that I feel, and I don't like feeling that, but I can't deny that it's there. So I have to constantly fight that. But with that, there's I'm claiming the word porn star or whatever, like I claim the word stripper, and I'm forcing myself to say what it is, because that's what they're gonna call it. You know, they're gonna call me that she does porn, regardless of how soft it is, regardless of that it's fetishistic and I don't show that much, which I do. Okay, we're not gonna say that I don't, but regardless of how I do it, people are gonna call it porn, just like regardless of how I want to call myself an entertainer or this, I'm a stripper. So getting back to basics. So yeah.
Hey, what else about you is interesting?
I write.
Yeah,
I
right.
I write. That is one thing that I find interesting. I love literature. I love to read. I'm forcing myself to read more, because when I read more, I write more, because I get inspired by what I read, and then it makes me, the literary techniques makes me want to go ahead and get some stuff on the paper. So I'm a writer. I'm realizing that my dad always told me, you're always getting ready to get ready. And I am. I'm always preparing to do something and probably never actually seeing it all the way through, because I'm trying to get it together. But I'm realizing, since I've started doing some small scale production work for Entitled Media, which is a women's lifestyle entertainment company, I have realized that what I do is basically production. That's what I'm doing. I'm producing something, so that's why I'm getting it all set up. And so there maybe is a place for my perfectionist side, and because I see things in my head and I see the scene unfold, how I want it to look. How do I want this to be a slow motion sweeping shot? Now, I'm not good with the camera like that, but I know what I want to see. And so I'm realizing that I'm a writer, I'm a budding producer, I'm a doting lover, I'm kind of a freak, and in the sense that I love all the dark, macabre, bloody stuff, even though everything in my apartment is pink and fluffy. Give me a horror movie, give me some blood, and I'm there for it. Give me some of the darkest stuff you can find. So those are things that are interesting, and those don't require me to talk about or be a sex worker to relate to other people on that level. So
yeah, and I would say that being a sex worker in any degree helps you do better at the other things that you're very interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I think because of the skill it requires to connect with someone immediately, to find out who they are and tap into that and have an intimate moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think it helps you do all of your communications. All of that stuff requires a lot of senses happening at the same time. And if you're always getting ready, basically what a producer is. So that's really, really powerful stuff. I see you writing. I mean, the only thing I know about you is from Instagram.
Yeah.
And now we're friends on OnlyFans. And, I see you on Instagram and you're always telling stories, and sometimes they're like way out there stories. And I think you're very outspoken. I think you're really playful. I think you're funny. And do you want to talk about where that comes from? Like what inspires these stories? And also the change. You made a big change with your Instagram.
Yeah. Well, I would say the stories really come from like the none of them, especially in the beginning and stuff, besides like when I'm writing fiction, they're all real. Like my life is pretty much, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
He's knocking something around and I'm like, how can one little cat make this much noise? He's at least he's having fun and not scratching at the door. But I guess the stories really started coming from basically real life. They are real stories. They are wild. Like the example of the story of me, I guess, seducing this old woman and then like kicking her boyfriend out under the under the intent, or I guess making her think that me and her were going to have a lusty rendezvous just to get back at her. You know, that stuff was real. That stuff actually happened. And I think I go out on what I like to call adventures with random people.
Okay, well, I'm gonna keep us moving forward a little bit. So you're talking about these like random adventures you like to go on. They're a little bit fueled. They're really poppy. They've got a lot of punch to them. Like when I read your stories, I'd love some sort of collection one of these days, like nicely
packaged, yeah,
plated, put together. I think like a lot of juicy reading for a lot of people. What are the self-care rituals that you do? I'm gonna ask, what are your before and after self-care rituals? Before and after you embark on either putting a video together, like shooting, or going to the club, or getting on your chat. I don't even know if I'm assuming you chat. I don't know.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you? How do you for yourself before and after?
Well, the thing is, one thing that I have realized is that a ritual is definitely important. It gets you in the mind frame, and I guess my ritual is pretty basic. Especially when I was working at the club and stuff like that, especially now that I'm actually getting ready during the daytime, it's a little bit different. Not getting ready for like at 6 o'clock and getting ready to go in, but definitely a shower, some nice sexy music. I like to listen to music like Drake, where men are crying over women and feeling, sad about how she's wronged him and stuff like that. I like hearing him cry, as I'm getting ready and feeling like I'm the reason why he's bitching and moaning over a mic right now. So I definitely like listening to music like that. Drake is a favorite for that, because I'm like, yeah, cry over me. And then
cute.
Also, one thing that I made a big investment in is my vanity mirror with the Bluetooth speakers. I love getting in front of it. I don't like getting ready anywhere else except for at home, because I can just sit in front of the big show lights kind of mirror and stuff like that, have a glass of wine. I'll usually go live and, let them partake in the transformation.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow. I would love to watch you get ready. I'm mesmerized by watching women get
ready. Yeah, so I used to go live on a platform called Live Me. Now I go live on a platform called Tagged. And then every now and then, because I can do private shows in there's another app called Tango that I also do, but Tagged is actually my preferred app of choice. I don't really get up on Instagram as much because I don't get very many views, and it seemed very hard to keep people's attention on Instagram versus these other platforms that are really dedicated to that, which Instagram I find is just basically, it's like creative LinkedIn, that's all it is.
Yeah. What platforms are you on, I ask?
Huh?
What platforms are you on?
Well, so I have OnlyFans, I have AVN Stars, I have Instagram, I have Snapchat, I have Tagged, I have Live Me, I have Tango, I have Just.Whoremoans, I have, what is it called? Something Girl Fund, something. I'm not even on there anymore. I just have an account. What platforms aren't I on? Yeah, I've covered a lot of ground, and I think I spread myself thin. Oh, also Reddit, because there's a lot of advertising that can be done on Reddit, but I've never mastered that. Reddit is very cruel. They're mean. They were mean about my boobs. So
okay. Tell a story? What do you mean? I don't know. I'm so new to the online world.
Mm-hmm.
I just today someone was like, I saw your Twitter and you need to do more. Like you need to, I just have an account. I put up one picture, I think. I don't even know. Like do it like this. And they totally told me how I should be engaged. Mm-hmm. It's so exhausting.
Oh, it is. I still haven't gotten my Twitter together. I've been doing a lot of retweeting, and I don't post or do anything on there really at all. And I'm so bad. I need to get better at posting on Instagram, because that's what makes the difference. Posting every day, being on a variety of platforms, and that is so fucking exhausting. It is so exhausting.
So, okay. But what happened? Okay, so like can you like just bring everyone into this world of Reddit where you are and like what happened? Do you mind sharing this story?
Yeah, so Reddit is very complicated when you're advertising for OnlyFans or any type of online sex work. The thing is that they have so many different non-safe for work forums, and what you do essentially is that you have to get verified, and each forum has different verification things. So, for example, let's take a picture like this, and there's one that you have to like crumple up the paper and then uncrumple it, and then use a certain type of ink or whatever to write it, because they need to make sure that you're actually real and not fake and it's not edited. Video verifications, some of them say you have to have a certain level of karma, or you have to have, your account has to be over a certain amount of, months old, perhaps, that you have had to, if you're verified in this forum, you're also verified in this one. It is a fucking circus, trying to figure out how it works. So I guess I posted on the Ebony forum, and I posted a cute picture of me lifting up my shirt, completely nude underneath, but just like this, like, hi, this is it. And I was like, you like or something like that. And then somebody was like, they're like, I like that, the color of the wall behind you. And then after that, they just kind of flew it in. It's like, tits are too small. And it's like, where's your ass? You're black. Where's your ass? So stuff like that.
Hey, is this men doing these comments? Like, who's commenting? Do we know? I guess
yeah, these are men. I'd like to think that they're incels, honestly. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
So yeah, they were mean, and I didn't. I'm still not used to being on the internet and having people say the things that they say. I actually, when I got the interview for Vice, or the documentary or whatever for Vice, I read the YouTube comments twice, and I never read them again. And I made a promise to myself to never read them again, because they were cruel. They weren't very nice, and it's still, yeah.
I had, that was a moment of reckoning for me to decide to do a Patreon and an OnlyFans, because I can see my junk, and I'm almost 40, and I don't want to be laughed at.
Yeah.
Like, who does she think she is, or whatever. I had many insecurities moving forward. I don't have a huge following, but it's growing. But put myself really out there. Like, I think, one thing at a time, like build the small confidences along the way. But I swear, every single time I post, even on Instagram, even a story, every time I post, I have a little bit of anxiety that comes up, a little bit of stress. And yet the more I do it, the more liberated I feel. And like, fuck about what you have to say. I feel great, Does it have this like other side to it? Like it's scary and people are mean, and then do you also get like that wave of like little high that can come with it as well? Or
I get that high mainly from when I post on Just.Whoremoans, and I get the female feedback, because my boyfriend says I'm a misandrist, and I think he's right. I'm fiercely heterosexual, and I despise men. I think they're disgusting. I don't like them. I don't like men. I think they're dogs. I think they deserve to get on their fucking knees, worship, buy me things, treat me nice. That's how I feel about men. I don't really have much nice things to say about them at all. But at the same time, I love men.
Because why? Like what? Like, where does that come from? What's in there?
They're so opinionated. They've got all this power. Somebody needs to take them down a peg. And at the same time, I have, like, especially for my Black men, I have this overwhelming love and just adoration and just uplifting, just gosh, what a god you are. So it's very confusing for me, because he, like, a prime example is that a man will tell me something, could be perfectly right, and I won't listen to him. A woman tells me that, and I'm listening. Hey, I'm all ears. But let a man tell me it, and I'm like, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, and that's just my default response. And he was like, you're kind of a misandrist. And I said, you know what? You're kind of right, because I can't listen to what a man says, even if he's right. I have a hard time digesting information that comes from men, and that is an issue. We're not going to pretend like it's not an issue, but it is kind of where my head's at. And I think it's just being the strip club, hearing them say the things that they say, hearing them being so comfortable saying the things they say.
Yeah.
Them just
to be able to say and do whatever. The entitlement to me is that's what I have the hardest time with.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Like they're so entitled, and it's like the response that they expect. Like if you go to somebody and say, "Hey, sexy bitch," like who the fuck says that? Why would you say that to somebody? Yeah. Why do you think somebody's gonna respond positively to that? The thing is that you just don't even fucking care. You don't even fucking care. You're just saying shit. Shut up. Like that's how I feel. That's how I feel. And these feelings have been, I don't know, building up since I was younger, and that's what kind of made me step into the trying doming and stuff like that. And I've had people tell me before, you should be a dominatrix and stuff like that. You should do dom work, because when I get on my rants and stuff, I keep going, and they just happen to sound good.
Talk to me about your dom work. Where, like, is this something that's kind of new for you?
Very. Very.
Experience like?
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm figuring out, and I'm excited about it. I know that I could be good. I know that I could really make. I feel that as I'm learning about doming and experimenting and finding myself and finding my voice, I'm realizing that this is more and more where I'm supposed to be. And it's giving me more confidence to speak up. Surprisingly, for somebody who's so outspoken and stuff like that, I take a lot of shit from people. And I take a lot of shit from men. And I've let them touch me and do things to me that I was not comfortable with. And I didn't speak up about it. Yeah. So doming is my way, is really me taking that back, which I don't know, almost sounds like really typical, like girls like, I'm a dom and I'm more powerful now. But it's like, I'm coming from a position of, I'm so outspoken and stuff like that. I'm so this, that, and the other. And I still can't seem to go ahead and set boundaries that work for me. I still cross my boundaries regularly. And doming is letting me know that you don't have to cross your boundaries. You can do exactly what. Oh, my cat heard it too. Okay, I don't know what they're knocking around out there, but they've been doing it all morning. Anyway, but that doming was really allowing me to take my power back and do things on my terms. And you know, you think being in a strip club would have taught me all the things I need to know about boundaries, but I have never had my boundaries more crossed than when I was in the strip club, and now it never allowed it as much as when I was in the strip club. And now doming and doing online work, I'm exhausted. I'm like, you cannot tell me what the fuck to do in the comfort of my own home.
Yeah, I feel like that too. Like, I don't know if like I've never done, there's things that I just won't do. Mm-hmm. Feel like when you enter into a relationship, a dom relationship, the consent there, it's so clear what's allowed and not allowed, that the container of it allows you to step into a place where you don't even have to exercise your boundaries because they're already agreed to. Mm-hmm. In a club, it's constant negotiation, and there's always this like calculations going on in the back of your head of like, am I willing to bend? How far back am I willing to bend for mm-hmm. Well, I don't know, it depends on like XYZ. Mm-hmm. And the environment is set up to create a false sense of hierarchy or power dynamics. And yeah, so I would think it's very confusing. I think it'd be difficult. That's why I never got into it. I think I would have probably done a lot more than, I mean, I've done a lot for nothing. So
yeah,
you know, woman. Mm-hmm. I want to ask you about your experience with Vice.
Yeah,
you were featured. Is that the time that you've been featured? Like, because I'm sure that this is probably going to grow for you. It's very exciting. Do you want to talk about that and share your story?
Yeah, so that's the first time I've ever been featured in anything. And it got me some attention. I was expecting the OnlyFans to blow up and for it to be this, that, and the other. But the truth is that it required more work on my end. It required, if I had the attention, I would have had to be posting more often. I would have had to go, you know, I would have had to keep that attention, and I was not accustomed to keeping that attention. So I got it and I lost it. But
good lesson.
Yeah, it was a lesson. It was a lesson in, you know, social media marketing and whatnot. But one thing that it did do is that all of the shots that you see in Vice, they couldn't send out a camera crew out here. I had to shoot all of those myself. So all of those shots were shot by me. So like, you know, the close-ups and this of Milo, and then any sweeping shots I did, that was all done by me. And I think that had kind of let my editor that was working with me on the project, she let me know. She was like, you know, hey, would you want to go ahead and do this project? Or do you want to go ahead and try to work on this? Because I guess she saw that, you know, that I could actually be doing some pretty decent work here. And so that's how the production thing happened, is after being with Vice, she just kind of recognized it. And she said, hey, yeah, you might actually be pretty good at this. So let's yeah.
Invisible. Well, isn't that funny? Because if your energy isn't into upkeeping an OnlyFans page, but it is into producing stories in whatever fashion, it's almost like a universal gift that you had a chance to go down one path, but your energy was to go down another way. And it was the same experience with two different
OnlyFans is still my primary form of income, and I haven't done anything for OnlyFans in like 2 weeks, and I need to get it together. I do have to get back on OnlyFans. That's what's paying the bills, unfortunately. Not unfortunately. It's just that also because I had crossed my boundaries with OnlyFans, and just I found myself burnt out because I was kind of had a mentor, and you know, they were telling me a lot, you know, basically pushed me to do a lot of XXX, which was which I got way more comfortable doing as I did it more often. But at the same time, it was just a little much for me. And I don't think that they had a really good vision for my brand. And they were so used to XXX working. It's what sells. It is what sells. But there are other ways to do things.
Yeah.
And so I had to go ahead and sever ties and stuff, because I found myself increasingly irritated, frustrated, and I didn't want to make content. And it's been 2 weeks, like almost 2 weeks since then, maybe a little bit more. And I haven't done a damn thing because I've just kind of been rediscovering what it is I want to do, what kind of content I want to put out, and getting back to basics. And it's been a constant battle for me. I still haven't got it figured out. I know a lot of people say that my branding looks really well, but I mean, that's just on the surface. I don't know what I really want. But now this upcoming week, starting Friday, I'm going to be filming content again, and I'm on it. I'm figuring it out, because I mean, when I first started and when I was filming Vice, I was excited. I got up every day, I made breakfast, I did yoga, and then I filmed content, and then I would do that all day. And I didn't even film content. I only took pictures. I just now started filming content over the past month and a half.
Yeah.
That I barely did any film unless they were like cute little clips and stuff like that. They were just all pictures. And you know, I don't know. Maybe that was something I was really comfortable with, is just taking pictures. I don't know. I like I said, I'm still figuring out. This is very confusing for me.
And you have to kind of just, here's my little one. You have to, you have to just trial and error and see what works for you and the relationship that you have, I think, with your fans.
Mm-hmm.
Got minimal fans, but I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if I get someone unfollows, or not unfollows, but doesn't renew, sometimes it hurts my ego a little bit, and I have to have a little session with myself to be okay with it. And I'm just hoping for more growth. And I please everyone. I want to please everyone. I'm curious if you have what, I don't know if you want to share this or not, but do you have certain strategies that you use when you're engaged with that platform?
One thing that I was kind of told is that you being on and being often, little things throughout the day, utilizing the audio clips is something that I have been doing, utilizing the audio. I may not have time that day, or I may want to go ahead and just get them going. So I do this thing called Moaning Monday, where I send out a soundbite of me coming, and just them, just me moaning and stuff like that. I send one out every Monday, and kind of gets everybody thinking, ooh, what's that? I wonder what it looked like, and et cetera, et cetera. So the sound bites are just saying, hey guys, hey, how are you guys? Good morning. And then them just hearing my voice just really personalizes the experience. Also with my submissives, I kind of do this thing where, daily tasks, I'll go ahead and set out tasks or like a punishment. I'll have a wheel, and I'm like, what's your punishment going to be? Spin the wheel, and it'll land on, I think I have a few. One called Yum Cum, where I make them eat their own cum. There's one called Pee. I either make them pee on themselves or they have to pee sitting down for the rest of the day. Et cetera, et cetera. And I haven't completely, I haven't got really good protocol and for this yet, but there's a lot of ideas of, how I want to go ahead and implement stuff with subs. I'll even make them, I make everybody wear a certain color shirt today. I want everybody to wear blue. Send a picture of you wearing a blue shirt today.
Wow. What a cool. Yeah. You're like an empress. Everyone is blue today.
Exactly.
Blue, I would wear blue. That's so awesome.
So yeah.
I have a few more questions. Mm-hmm. This is a very big question. Mm-hmm. I ask all of my guests what feminist theology is. So, I mean, I just recently, finally, just like accepted the fact that I'm a feminist. Mm-hmm. I was kind of like not anti-feminist, but there was a version of feminism that I just wasn't into, and it was feminist at war. Mm-hmm. It's just not. I'm a peacemaker. I'm not here to make war. I make love. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, but then when I started looking at I had a book challenge on Facebook where you're supposed to take a photo of books that you're reading or something, and I had a stack of all my books, and I was like, oh, I realized that I've been a feminist my whole life. Mm-hmm. And so now I have like it feeds my worldview. It feeds me to see everything. And so I'm curious if that resonates with you, and if so, like what does that mean for you in feminism?
I've always felt like I'm a feminist. I've always considered myself a feminist, and I feel like everyone else should be a feminist too. I feel like every single person on this planet should be a feminist, because being for feminism is being for everyone, for males, females, and everyone in between. Because what people are fighting against are inherently feminine traits. That's what they're fighting against. They're telling young little boys that they're pussies or they throw like girls and stuff like that. It's the feminine traits that people are at war with. So fighting those allows people to more freely express themselves. And my version of feminism is let people do what the fuck they want. And I think that's just life in general. Let women do what they want. Stop telling them what they need to do, how they need to look. Just stop. It's exhausting, because I just don't understand wanting to have that much control over someone else's life. I don't understand why it's so hard for people to let someone else do what they want with their body. It's literally so simple that it's confusing that we're still having this discussion. That's how it feels to me, is that I'm exhausted. I'm flabbergasted, and I'm quite frankly, I'm tired. So it's like sometimes not saying I don't even talk about it, because I'm always talking about it. I'm always talking about it. But at the same time, I'm not talking about it like on that warpath. It's common sense, and it pisses me off because you're being kind of fucking stupid. It's common sense. That's how feminism feels for me. It's just good, plain common sense.
It's good, plain common sense. I think that'd be the quote for you that I. Yeah, like things, my boyfriend and I were watching a show. There was a scene where, like, in one day, one person was assaulted, basically, sexually in one way or another, like, in one day. And he's like, wow. And I'm like, yeah, welcome to womanhood. That's what that feels like. Whenever I see a man having an experience like a woman, I'm like, welcome to womanhood. That's a very small glimpse of what it feels like to just be living oppressed like that, and 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 the oppression is because of power.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think one of the ways that I'm trying to fight against it is by making as many deep, meaningful connections with powerful women. The ones that I've been told are a threat, or to be jealous of, or you know, and I've bought into that for years. So doing these interviews, very selective who I talk to, because I see the power, and that's the person that I really want. So, you know, from one powerful woman to another. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that theology. I have 2 more questions. I want to know what your vision is for yourself and for sex work in general.
Oh, big question. My vision for myself is, you know, sometimes it's hard to see myself as becoming famous. And I don't know if necessarily if I want to have fame, but I feel like it's just going to come with speaking out, comes with being a social media personality. It comes with doing what I do. The way to success is kind of through fame. You got to have people that know about you. It's not like working in corporate America or doing stock where you could just quietly make your money. That's not how it's going to go for me. Yeah. So my vision is to be a reasonable, perhaps flawed, slightly salacious voice of the sex worker community. I intend to have my own TED Talk one day. I want to be I want to be an authority on something. I want people to go ahead and reach out to me about something. And if that's just, you know, being brazen and just living life to their fullest and letting them know that they can, is to stop giving a fuck what people think, then yeah. If maybe an example in vulnerability, then that's fine. I'm not quite sure, but I know that I want to be a voice. I want to be a recognizable voice as well. And I don't think that I'm going to be able to see the changes that I want in the world for sex workers in my lifetime, because that fight is long and it's been being fought for so long. But I don't think my purpose is really to be the law changer and whatnot.
Right.
And not saying, and I don't want to say I'm not much of an activist but I'm not really much of an activist, but my activism is a little bit different. It's letting people know that all of these emotions are valid by experiencing and living and being authentic about my experience. That is where my activism is, because talking about the good, bad, and the ugly.
Well said.
So yeah, that would be yeah, that's it.
Well, I now that we all know what vision is, we can all help you. So thanks for sharing that. My last question for you is, I ask this to everyone at the very end, and just today, you know, it changes every day, I'm sure, but today, if you were a flower, what flower would you be?
My favorite flower, I would be a peony.
Oh, yeah.
I love the little cabbage flowers. They're so elegant. They're so robust. They remind me of cherubs. They're constant. They're timeless. They look good with a lot of things. They don't have to be. They're surprises for them to be so. And I won't say plain, because they're not necessarily plain, but for them to be such what some would consider a boring, basic flower, what I call that is classic. And it's weird. I know people are not going to think of me and my sex work and porn and all this as classic, but I find myself very classic. Timeless. Like I said, I'm with timeless, tasteless, something else. I forgot what I said, but that's how I feel, tasteless and timeless. So I would be a peony, and I will be a peony every single day of my life.
Beautiful. Well, I'm going to add you to this bouquet that I'm collecting over time. And yes, I see that soft, multi-layered, just delicate, very robust. I almost feel a peony in my hands right now, just thinking about it. And that
have a little weight to them. Like, I like that you can kind of feel it in your hand, and it just like, you know, if I had a peony in my hand, I imagine it just kind of like laying on its side, kind of like resting, nestled in my hand and whatnot. The flower has always resonated with me. There's something innocent about it. That's another thing, is that like I mourn my innocence lost. But I know that it's still in me, that the vulnerability is where my innocence lies. So yeah, something about that flower. Oh, it makes me want to cry. Oh, you made me emotional. Oh no.
Yeah.
um
Your innocence is always there.
Yeah.
It is pure. You are a pure soul. It doesn't matter what's happened on the outside.
Yeah, that's one thing that I actually reached out to Queens of the Underworld, I guess. I don't know if you know who Queens of the Underworld is. She basically does counseling and therapy for sex workers, and her being a sex worker herself and a escort. I don't know if she, stripper, all of that other stuff. She's heard a lot about Skid Row hookers, women that used drugs and stuff. So that morning I got back from the strip club, I had to talk to somebody, and I had to talk to somebody objective and somebody that had heard everything under the sun. So whatever I said and whatever I felt was not going to shock them. So I paid for her session that morning, and I just let it out. I was like, I feel dirty, I feel bruised, I feel this, and I'm tired, and I'm beaten, and I just want to know that I'm not a dirty person, and that I'm not irreparably fucked up. So, and she told me, she was like, no, you're not. And she's like, you need to get over that. She told me to write a letter to the people that hurt me. And I still haven't been able to write that letter, but she has been very instrumental in helping me and making me feel more and more like that peony. So yeah, scene.
Well, I'm going to carry this peony in my hands gently, because I know it's been bruised.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little from bumping into things.
Yeah, just a little jostled around. That's okay.
Trying some things out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to carry this gently and add it. And my wish and my hope for you is to find all of that success with your salacious, tasteless, timeless self into the world, and bring that vulnerability, that intimacy that you provide, in all of the dark and soft ways that you do so beautifully. Show us all more of what it means to be a woman in this world. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this talk.
Thanks. I appreciated it too. It was like therapy.
That's good. I've been talking that. I'd really like to be the Oprah for sluts. That's kind of what I keep saying to myself.
Yeah, that is a really great way of saying that, the Oprah for sluts.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I guess I got some kind of like emotional, I don't know, somewhere between Paris Hilton, Zsa Zsa Gabor, and like, I don't know, Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
All three. But thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity to talk to you, and I really enjoyed myself.
Thank you. I'm going to stop recording.
Okay.
We'll just chat for a little second here.
Okay, cool.